Welcome back to another chapter of Mortal Kombat Shaolin Monks Part 2. Last time, Sub-Zero and Smoke actually reunited with the team, with Kung Lao, Aiko, Nightwolf in the Appalachian Mountains, and Kung Lao and Aiko just got rid of another scrappy Oniro. I always hated that guy. And they soon reunited with Striker and Cabal, and they were able to get rid of Kano, as well as Cyrax. But they weren't able to get rid of Sector, because Sector is like a cold-blooded cybernetic assassin. So obviously, if there was a tier list, I think Sector would be a lot stronger than Cyrax and Kano. So Cabal was a little match for him, and Smoke intervened. And of course, there was a cameo by Mr. Toasty. And Aiko was able to perform her cardiokinesis well with a little support from Kung Lao and Nightwolf, who are my top two favorite combatants. Unfortunately, it was short-lived because they were ambushed by Tarkatans and Shadow Priests, who were more strategic than ever. They fried the team, including Smoke, and Smoke was taken prisoner to Kahn's fortress. So I'm going to take a sidetrack real quick and focus on the other combatants for a while. Alright, Chapter 7, Fire vs. Water. Liu Kang wound up inside the abandoned bell tower. The moonlight became more prominent as a cloud cleared over it, making him come to, and he slowly surveyed his foreign surroundings. The one decor and framework made him realize he wasn't near the burnt remains in Outworld, and the sky looked different as the large full moon shone through a clear night sky of indigo. He noticed he was back in Earthrealm and Kitana was nowhere to be found. Neither was Kano. He recalled when the two realms started to merge, both combatants had been paralyzed before they blacked out. He wandered the barren place and noticed most of the wood had been warped and damp as he held on for his groggy self. The bell tower has seen better days. Even the distant large main bell was unable to make a sound, its gears rustic. His hands were chapped, and he continued on his search. Every floor remained empty, no traces of life, until he heard some distant operational machinery, the cogs and gears grinding against each other. He followed the irritating noise, and a large wheel was gradually dropping, a strong rope. His eyes made out the chute descending into a shiny bed of sharp points, coming from the basement floor. The end was dropping. Kitana! She remained still, never slithering at the sound of Liu Kang's angst. He hurriedly stepped toward the active contraption, till a floorboard from an upper layer collapsed, and a forceful jet of water soaked him. He shook it off and conjured some of his pyrokinesis to raise his body temperature and dry himself. He looked up and saw the large hole dripping like a leaking faucet, but he was unprepared of the sudden impact from behind. He slowly got back on his feet and identified the assailant. "Remember me, feeble earthling?" "Rain!" He simply sneered. He stated he was about to offer her as a sacrifice to Kahn. Alright, this is contrary to the role player I used to meet, the Prince of Edenia. He was more benevolent than this one right here. He'd eventually be a successor as Prince of Outworld, showing no nostalgia of his former homeland, Edenia. He didn't mind having Melina at his stead, even though she'd mostly stick with Baraka. 'Cause, they're Tarkans. Liu Kang's mind then flashed back on his treachery nearly 3 months ago. And this is the episode in Defenders of the Realm. I forgot what it was called, but still. That was how I first discovered Rain, along with Annihilation. He split with the rest of the Defenders as they trekked through the New Guinea jungles, attempting to find the source of the strange readings emitting there. The Shaolin monk was the first to encounter an unmasked ninja wearing purple attire, similar to Sub-Zero's. He made an airborne assault and he was known as the exiled Prince of Edenia, Rain. They were at odds during battle until Kitana broke them off. She stated they were engaged at one point, eons before she met the champion. The monk tried to convince Kitana he can't be trusted since he'd be an outlander working for the enemy. But she wouldn't turn her back on her former friend and simply mistook it as jealousy. False move, Kitana. The hydrokinetics mission was to take a powerful artifact at a distant temple before Kahn does, and they were separated while the Linkway cyborgs attacked. Liu and Stryker noticed one of the princess dropped fans pointing toward the ruins that were guarded by Kahn's centaur warriors. They were able to outmaneuver them, and Liu found Kitana with her arms chained. He managed to save her after battling a multi-headed mutant, though he was intervened by Rain. Kitana demanded to know, but never risking being killed by the extermination squads, he conspired with the Emperor. Unfortunately, the temple collapsed and he leapt into a small pool nearby, which seemed to be a watery portal. Ugh! Again, the never say die rule. It's so annoying when they get away. Liu fought him off, but it was tough. One-sided battle considering his hydrokinesis cancelled his pyrokinesis directly. They were at a standoff even when it came down to quickness and strength. At a swift kick to the chest, Rain backed off but smiled. Not bad, paper champion, implying he would have taken Liu's title if he was involved in the previous tournaments. Then raised his hand and made a stray bolt from the leaky roof stun the monk. Everywhere he went, Rain summoned lightning through the ruined roofs to stun Liu on contact. And his bare chest made it even more unbearable with no armor. Vulnerable to the streaks of lightning, the warped wood, and Rain's advances, they were nearly too much for the hero. And with each second passing, Kitana was still inert, dropping lower to the pit of spikes. Liu was still injured from the constant arrays of electricity. As his foggy gaze laid on the contraption, his mind hatched a plan. At every dry landing, which was soon warped by Rain's elemental prowess, Liu kept hopping away to the nearest cog. The Shaolin leapt out just in time after Rain conjured several streaks of bolts, short-circuiting the machinery. With every puddle he left, the sparks licked toward Rain, and he was shocked. Since the monk was able to dry himself from within, the sparks only caught on with Rain's own water vapor. This should be a good battle strategy. Water conducts electricity, and Liu is able to dry himself. I say that's a really good strategy during dealing with Rain. He then destroyed the contraption, stopping it in time. However, Kitana's body was still suspended over the floor, protruding 6-foot spikes. One false move can leave her dead instantly. He hustled to the basement, and the rows of spikes nearly covered the entire floor. I sure hope this works. Uncertain of himself, Liu backed up toward the rear wall. He revved himself up, ran a few inches, and thrusted his feet up and forward. His flying kick was just enough distance to carry himself and Kitana over the wide bed. There was a sudden violent shake, and Rain fell down several stories to spikes, making his blood spew in all directions. The impact, in conjunction with the weakened, soaked wood, made the tower's foundation collapse. They ran around the spikes. Liu had to urge a despondent princess after she beheld Rain's slaughtered corpse. The building continued to fall like a Jenga tower, and in one of the balconies the heroes were stunned at how high they were from the ground. We gotta jump! Liu Kang held Kitana and stood on the handle before they made the leap of faith. They dropped a few feet down before they'd been swished away by some unknown force. Liu was stunned, but his mind surfaced and he noticed he was sitting on a blunt surface, though still moving, as if on a magic carpet. His eyes scanned and noticed he was on the maroon surface of a dragon jet. Piloted the ship were Jax! Sonya! Hey, big guy. Thought you could use a lift. See, I told you it pays to be part of the Special Forces. Liu stuck up a thumb with a smile. Thanks, guys. I owe you one. Where's Kitana? Jack simply pointed to a dark figure soaring ahead of the jet. It almost looked to be a shape of a hawk. Is that Asgarth? He saw the humanoid eagle glide down, and Jack soon followed. Hang on, Liu Kang. We gotta regroup. The monk held firmly onto the fuselage as the jet descended, as did the mysterious Edenian beside it, with Kitana touching ground first. Thanks, Asgarth. Of course, Princess Kitana, he responded with a bow. It is my honor and duty to protect you, and offer you guidance as I did with the late benevolent king. You'll always have my utmost gratitude. The trio leapt off the aircraft and met up with the Edenian duo. Kitana, you alright? Oh, Kitana, you're alright. Yeah, thanks to that giant bird here. Come, we have much business to discuss. Yes, we do. A small bonfire ignited thanks to Liu's elemental skills, as well as finding some dead wood. The group settled, and Asgard stated that he followed the dragon jet to the abandoned bell tower, seeing the two warriors jump off. He managed to catch Kitana while Liu Kang landed on the battleship's fuselage. Asgarth from the cancellation of Mortal Kombat, Defenders of the Realm. I find him to be the most underrated character in the series next to Kung Lao. Actually, he found a powerless thunder god slipping after he wandered while teleporting each combatant. He came to his aid as he hopes in finding Kitana since he sensed the darkness sweeping into Earthrealm. He knew this was Kahn's desperate attempt to gain absolute power and conquer over another realm like he did with his former peaceful home. He implored the knight to transport his sanctuary. The Sky Temple, and the Jinsei is there. You know that place? What the hell is the Jinsei? Us Shaolin monks protect a small portion of it beneath the academy. The Jinsei is the life force in all of Earthrealm. Raiden occasionally visits there to recuperate while we tend our wounds at the subterranean chamber. He, however, resides at one of the tallest mountains. It's a very sacred protective settlement. At the heart of the temple lies the Jinsei itself. No one mortal or foreign is permitted there. The Thunder God escorted me to that with his consent, and I assisted him on leading to it. I'd been assigned as its other guardian, but he offered me to find you first. Let's hope Kahn wouldn't attain Earth's life. Otherwise, he may be invincible. Where's Johnny Cage? Were you able to find him? The agent sulked. He didn't make it. Sonya and I found him in Los Angeles, but his outdoor set was ransacked by centaurs. One of them was more powerful and larger than the others, and Johnny pleaded us to escape with our lives. He went by the name of Motaro. Motaro! Kitana couldn't bear to say his name. He's the elitist of the Centaur clan, and one of Kahn's most prominent generals, if not the most deadliest. It is said that Kahn anointed the Centaurs, since they're more superior to the Shokan, their opposing race. You mean Goro and Kitana? Precisely. You mean Goro and Kintaro? Precisely, Liu. You remember, they've led Kahn's forces during the rebellion against Shiva and her army. Rumor has it she may be working for Kahn despite the Centaur breaking ranks, as a sort of peace offer to spare her kind. But, being how they lost the previous tournaments... She must have been desperate, losing the 2 tournaments by me and Kung Lao. Desperate times call for desperate measures. But what Wait, where is that? But what I don't understand is, how would he still be able to invade Earth since the Elder God stated he was supposed to be banned by his numerous losses? There must be a loophole to this. But what? I'm certain Raiden has the answers. The Elder Gods must never allow this calamity. That is, unless Kahn completes his merger. I'd stopped Kahn before, and I can do so again. You are Earthrealm's undefeated champion, as is Kung Lao, but this isn't the same Kahn. Kahn can be more powerful than we realize. Our only hope is seeking assistance from as many surviving warriors as possible. Millions of lives had already fallen by his invading generals, but Raiden, as minute as his powers are, had spared a handful of them. Sonya wished it would have been Johnny's. Jax assured her they'll find a way to resurrect him or at least reunite his body and soul, but she must stay focused on the task at hand. Can you blame her? There was a band of warriors bounding together, but it's straight across the defective bridge heading east. It does exceed for about 100 miles, but it should lead you straight to Shao Kahn's emerged fortress. Thanks, Asgarth. It must be Kung Lao and our other comrades. Let us hope we all succeed. I suggest you all to take a good night's rest before you shall proceed. Raiden and I will watch over you. May victory be ours. Soon enough, he wandered off before he glided into the night air. Aside from the cartoon itself, I find Asgard to be one of the most underrated characters in it, even in Mortal Kombat in general. Actually, I kept on mispronouncing it as Asgard, as you'd seen earlier, the heavenly realm housing brave warriors and Vikings in Norse mythology. And to make matters worse, he was only introduced in its last episode! What the fuck? Also, I'm so glad I got rid of another scrappy Rain. I know that he was made as a prank by Ed Boon in Ultimate Mortal Kombat 3's Attract mode, but for the sake of adding more color-coded ninjas, and as a shout-out to one of his favorite musicians since his name is Rain, is a purple ninja and the so-called Prince of Edenia. I thought the rematch with Liu at the Bell Tower was fitting. Nice little shout-out to one of my all-time favorite villains, Motaro, too. God, I can't wait to ride him in battle. And, like I said, I encountered a role player on Twitter. Man, we had a fallout, but with several others, but still, I wish he never left. Due to writer's block, I kept the impending bridge scene out. I included it in the next chapter. Hopefully I'll be able to do it. Sorry if this chapter is short. I just want to get it out of the way, so hopefully my stubborn mind would fill in the gaps. It was hard, let me tell you. It was a hard-ass epic. Until then, this is the Akron Writers signing out, and stay tuned for the next chapter. I'll see you then.